Who is capable of having a career season for VGK? Next on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us, as you know, wherever you get your podcast. And please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON. It's FanDuel.com/LockedOn and start making the most out of your summer. Chris, our topic today, topic one, who is capable of having a career season for VGK, a breakout campaign, or, as Kelly McCrimmon might see it, a player that outperforms their contract? You like that little dig? Subtle dig.
That changed. That moves the goalpost as far as what my answer might be.
Okay, my list includes, I've got a bunch of players here. I've got Nick Hague. I've got Brady McNabb. I've got Pavel Dorofeev, Alexander Holtz, Victor Olofsson, and of course, Zach Aston Reese. No, I feel that VGK made a mistake last season by platooning. I know you wanted to say something there. It's okay. By platooning Paul Cotter and Pavel Dorofeev, who scored points in half of his games. So Dorofeev, I think, would be my
career. That's his career trajectory, not just last year.
Yeah. So I'm on pace here. I didn't pick like a bum out there. Okay. So started 47 games. And I think this season will have to be at least 60 games in the mix to be effective. And if he scores 20 goals and has 15 to 20 helpers, I think that he would have done his job. And I'm going to go with Pavel Dorofeev to be my breakout star of the upcoming season.
I think, and I'm with you. I think if, let's just assume he goes 82 games, you can't assume that, but if he were to go 82 games and have a 25-25 campaign and put up 50 points, that would be a real strong year. I mean, if he goes 20-20, or for him, actually probably more like 25-15. He's not really as much. Well, actually, last year he was 13-11. 40, so I guess he
35 to 40. I think he's still pretty good. I think that's a good contribution. They didn't get much out of that position this past season.
No, 82 games again. If you were to go 82 games, if you were to keep his point pace right at 0.5, 1 point every other game, and getting 80-ish games, even 75 games, that's good. I think for us to consider it a breakout scenario, 50 points would be the number, like 25 to 30 goals, 15 to 20 assists. He's capable. He is extremely capable of being a 50-point player and a tremendous contributor for the Vegas Golden Knights. What's going to keep him on the ice and keep him in consideration for extended periods of play and not getting benched? He's getting better with his back check. He's getting better in the board battles. He was never really known as much of a defensive player, but he's developing that side of his game. And I think you have to offer some credit to William Karlsson for that, because he did play along William Karlsson for a good chunk of the 2023-24 season.
Yeah, if you have Doro and then you have Karlsson and then perhaps Olofsson, that's a pretty good line, I think, for line number 3. And, for me, I just think,
IKEA reference.
Are you going to, yeah, the IKEA
I was waiting
line.
for it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I don't want to overdo it there. And people might think that we're having inside jokes, but I do call it the IKEA line. Okay. And but are you going to admit that VGK kind of messed up last season by platooning Cotter and Dorofeev? I think Cotter was half as good as I thought he was expected to be.
I don't think it was a platoon. I mean, early on, Cotter won that position.
How?
Fair enough. No, that's a fair question to ask. Cotter broke camp, obviously, on the right side of that. You saw in day one, I remember I was very intrigued in the opening day of training camp last year. I felt Cotter and Karlsson had immediate chemistry out of the gates. Once the season got cooking, I think Dorofeev probably didn't play about the first 10 to 12 games because the team was pretty healthy early on. And then things obviously went downhill pretty fast as far as health for the Golden Knights. So I don't know if there's as much of a platoon between those two, maybe for that particular spot on that particular line. But again, Cotter was up on line 2 and line 1. Dorofeev was moved all around last season. This season, I look forward to seeing Dorofeev in a defined role. He's ahead of I'm sure we'll bring up some of these fellas in a second, but he's the top of the Brendan Brisson, Victor Olofsson, Alex Holtz bunch of players. He is definitely on top of that.
Okay, but you do have Olofsson and Holtz. I like their upside. I do. And I'll tell you why. Because
Holtz especially.
Well, they were underutilized in their previous jobs. And then I think they come in with chips on their shoulders. And these have particularly been players that have exceeded expectations, I think, for VGK. Could be good for the Golden Knights. Players of that ilk have done pretty well. So I like that upside again of guys that are like, okay, I've got something to prove as they arrive here in Vegas.
No doubt. And Vegas obviously has been a proving ground for that, so to speak. Just trying to look really fast here. So it looks like Dorofeev was in the lineup pretty early on last season. He was in the lineup as early as October the 12th, which was only probably regular season game
3, 4,
2, maybe number 2 again. Did they go to San Jose for their second game of the year after the Kraken?
It didn't count. Nobody cared.
Fair enough. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. But he was doing well from the beginning.
We redlined that right through there's a red line. Okay.
So the question was what? Something about the other players, Holtz and stuff. While I was looking at that.
No, just players of that ilk have done pretty well.
Oh yeah, no. Vegas has done. Yeah, thank you. No, Vegas has been a great place. I mean, listen, the Misfits, the legend of the Misfit lives on in Vegas, and it's something that's going to go for probably another, 4 or 5 years. It'll wear off at some point, but not yet. And maybe once all the original Misfits are gone, maybe that's when that's when that'll slow down. But for now, the Misfits, what's the word? Misfit narrative will live on. And Holtz, is he a castaway? I don't think he's a castaway. Olofsson, maybe you can look at that. And then obviously
that would be a good theme. The castaways. We go from the Misfits to the castaways. I like that.
Yeah, let's trademark that quick here. That's actually pretty good. You go a step farther. Denisenko, I dubbed him the Silver Misfit last season, right? The Florida Panthers don't want anything to do with him. Golden Knights take him with the final waiver claim because, again, Stanley Cup champions go last. Golden Knights have to waiver him again to send him down to the American League. At this point, any team can claim him, or the Florida Panthers can claim Denisenko back and then place him in the American League. Florida says, no, we're good. Golden Knights claim Denisenko, and we'll see if Denisenko can get it together. But Denisenko certainly fits that mold, but I'm not putting him as a career year player, though, yet.
We have to go as far back as Max Comtois. I just wanted to mention him in the show.
KHL, by the way. He's going to the K.
He is?
The KHL, yep.
Okay.
So I saw it this morning.
If you do have that IKEA line with Dorofeev as the third part, hear me out. Vegas Bjorn, his productivity will go down because you'll have both Dorofeev and Olofsson taking a lot more shots than he's used to there.
That's fine. That. But that's okay though. That's not a bad thing if let's just assume that third line stays intact, or whatever third line Karlsson has stays intact for the entire season, whether it's a Holtz. I don't think Howden's going to score much, but let's just assume Karlsson has a consistent line for most of the season. His scoring will go down because you look at the players Karlsson had beside him, but that's not a bad thing if the productivity in general from a points per game basis goes up.
Coming up next, what key items have to go right for VGK to have a successful upcoming season? We'll talk about that as we return on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Don't forget, fans, to check out FanDuel. FanDuel, and this summer, hooking you up all day and night, all customers, with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for absolutely everyone. And all you need to do is go to FanDuel.com/lockedon, and you could start making the most out of your summer when it's a dog days of summer right now. It's going by way too fast for me. Bring back 120 degrees. I took the over at 116.5, won it to 120. So in any event, we do have football coming up. Of course, the NFL, Major League Baseball is back in full swing, and there's no better place to check it out. Again, head on over to fanduel.com/lockedon. Start making the most of the summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On. You didn't like that, of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris
I'm over
Gowan.
120 crap. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, 120 or the muckety muck that we've had during monsoon season, where it's about $1.05 and humid AF.
Okay, that's fine. But hey, listen, we had fun on Thursday.
Humidity.
Last Thursday, when it was raining a little bit, we drove down Lake Mead, like towards Lake Las Vegas, looking for the floods and stuff, watching the cars go by. So last year, really fast here.
Looking for floods
looking
with
for
your
floods. So,
family.
yes,
Those
there's
flash
a
floods
section
are dangerous, dude.
turn around, don't drown, fine. But there's a section of Lake Mead heading towards Lake Las Vegas where the water just rushes over when a good amount of rain comes down. We were at a little park right off, like kind of when you're going before, like I don't know, maybe a mile before you turn down to Lake Las Vegas, and the water looked like it was about 1.5 to 2 feet deep. And these cars, they don't care; they're just going right through. So me, Chris, and Allie were standing on the side. We're waving to cars as they go by, and they're honking at us, all happy because they made it and stuff. And yeah,
in the rain, the family.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
People in Vegas get excited when it rains, Tony. They get excited. They get weird.
No, it's great. And, we used to have these really hellacious, back in the day, storms in the summer where before they had any kind of drainage, like my very first July
Like
storm
Blink?
back in the late 70s, early 80s. Okay. My very first storm
That's
here
a
in the
joke
city.
right now.
I don't know. But the very first storm that I encountered here, we had the flooding at that Four Corners on Flamingo and the Strip before they had any kind of drainage. And it was
I've seen pictures of that before.
it was a lake, and then it spilled over to the old Imperial Palace, which is now the Link. And before they built any kind of drainage there were cars floating everywhere. And you wanted to have fun. The Golick family, man, you guys would have enjoyed that. Okay, we're getting back on topic here. What are some of the key items that have to go right for VGK to have a successful season? At the top of the list, of course, VGK has to stay healthy.
All right, hold on, Tony. I want to stop you for a second. Successful season. Are we talking like a playoff type team or a Stanley Cup contending team?
No, maybe just a team that has no drama. No, just kidding. Yeah, I would say a postseason berth because the expectations are not
Right.
as high.
Are we setting the goalpost at one and done, or are we setting the goalpost at a conference final?
Just making it into the playoffs, I think, first, and then you take it by there.
Right. Keep going. That'll change some of my perspective. So go ahead.
Okay. So, but just stay healthy during the regular season. There is not enough quality depth. One of our previous shows, we talked about center depth, and I don't think there's enough. And then you get to the wingers, there's definitely not enough there.
You know, VGK, center depth, Tony, I pushed back at you on that show and push back at you.
I know you did.
VGK center depth is great. Great.
Okay, past the first four, I'm really concerned. Okay, so VGK has to beat
teams that don't have three.
VGK has to beat the teams that they are expected to beat this upcoming season, aka Anaheim. They do have to do that. Defensive scoring, I think, needs to be up, especially if offense isn't being able to break through. The power play needs to click. They need to be more physical on pucks. And Bruce Cassidy, we alluded to this when we wanted to really get him out of town, escort him out of Las Vegas in a cab last week. Cassidy needs to tweak his system. He does. He needs to tweak his system. So I know that's a bunch of things there, but some of those are my key items that have to go right for VGK to even make it into the playoffs, however they get there, limp in or whatever. And of course, we know that they need to last. And if they have the same roster intact in the regular season, they have to at least make it to the trade deadline to pick up some additional pieces. But that's it. Take it from there.
I'm starting with the key number of 272. I just remembered. I was thinking about this last night before I fell asleep. I literally just remembered it right now.
272.
My key number is 272
And
between
a hook.
Jack Eichel, Tomas
Where's
Hertl.
your hook? Where's your hook?
No hook. No hook. We're not betting this one.
Okay.
Jack Eichel, Tomas
Yep.
Hertl, Mark
Yep.
Stone, Shea
Yep.
Theodore.
Okay.
272 games combined for those four players. That equates to an average of 68 appearances per player.
Okay. So again, Eichel,
Hurdle, Stone, Theodore.
Turtle, Stone,
And
Theodore. Theo's not even going to be here.
well,
Okay,
he's here now, so that's what
Okay, but if
we're
he
gonna
plays-
talk about.
If he plays those 68 games somewhere else, does it count against your
Yes, it
cap?
counts 100%. So 272 games. You mentioned the health. I'll go a step deeper. Those four players need to be on the ice for the lion's share of the games. What, 272 divided by 328? That's basically 83% of the regular season games between those players. That's first and foremost right there. We talked about the strength down the middle. We talked about the defense. You said defensive scoring, Tony. If Shea Theodore is on the ice for 68 games or greater, 70 games, then yeah, the Golden Knights' defensive scoring will be up because Hannafin is expected to take a major step forward, depending on which local media person you're
That's in
following.
the parking lot. That is in the parking lot.
No, that
Noah
definitely is in the
Hannafin.
parking lot.
Noah
That's
Hannafin
72.
total.
Write that number down. That's my first key
Games and
items
points.
that
Okay.
need to go right. 272 between Eichel, Hurdle, Stone, Theodore.
Okay. Is that it?
No. I got more definitely.
Go.
As far as the Golden Knights, so this is why I asked you the difference. Are we looking for a playoff berth and see what happens, or
What is success? What is success?
that's a parking lot? That's a parking lot, Tony. That's a parking lot. I want to dive into that, but I don't want to do it in 90 seconds right now.
Okay.
So going off of your goalpost of the Golden Knights making the playoffs,
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but all right.
you have four players who are going to be under a microscope this season: Brisson, Dorofeev, Olofsson, and Holtz. Olofsson and Holtz not so much as the other two players. You need one of those players to have a season way beyond whatever their expectations are, to outperform the contract.
Outperform the contract.
You need one of those players to have an absolute stellar breakout season, and then another one of those players to meet or slightly exceed what their expectations are. If that happens, coupled with my 272 number, then yeah, the Golden Knights are going to be pretty comfortably in the playoffs, maybe more comfortable than the previous season. Again, this is where the health, of course, obviously will play into things right now. And then the last thing, as far as what needs to go right, it's Adin Hill being on the ice for 50 appearances.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, on another show,
it's a lot more. It's a lot more to it than as far as if we're going to parlay this together and put some hooks out there. That's what I just suggested is probably about plus 15,000 or 150 to 1. But hey,
on another show, what did you say that Adin Hill? How many starts did you say? You said now you say over 50. Well, was
I
it
put
like
it at 32 and a half. I say it's going to go backwards a little bit.
Okay, so you're okay. No, they need to be
again. There's reality in what needs to happen.
okay.
I'm closer on the reality side of things.
What about the physicality of this team? Major concern. I think, and again, through the way that they went through free agency, and the players they picked up, these are finesse dudes. These aren't tough guys on the puck. That's another concern.
It's, a parking lot possibly, but
Yeah,
the Golden Knights are building what looks like a nice regular season roster. McCrimmon's plan B, his backup plan as the playoffs get closer, is to go out and do more shopping for Barbashev or a version of Mantha that actually hits people. That'll be the team's biggest need come playoffs. You can get through the regular season with a very good finesse squad. The Golden Knights need to have those players like the Oilers and the Florida Panthers and the Dallas Stars and all these teams that made runs.
Yes,
they need to beef up as when the playoffs get there. They can get through the regular season like this. If this roster, without any changes, which would not happen, but if this roster went to the playoffs without any changes, it would be incredibly challenging. I'm not saying they couldn't do it. It would be incredibly, incredibly challenging. Pardon me. So this is where McCrimmon, I'm sure, has an ace up his sleeve. He'll be making some moves, and you will see things happen to improve this roster should he feel that this is a Stanley Cup contending roster.
Coming up next, expecting the unexpected. We get into that when we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Just kidding.
Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. That is just going hog wild here on the audio side. We definitely appreciate all those downloads from everywhere. Massive week, last week, and just continuing here. And we have to tell you, we definitely appreciate everyone paying attention, subscribing to YouTube.
Good, bad, or otherwise. Good, bad, or otherwise.
And leaving the comments.
Yes.
It's so funny. Someone on the X last week, they were trying to get into a debate with Chris and I. And the guy says his counter was, well, you're following me. And I go, that's good. Like, I'm not afraid. It's like, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. And then you said, you chimed in and said, I'm going to follow you too. And then that just sets people back. Like, they don't know what to say. It's like, I don't care. Have an opinion. Have an opinion. That's good.
Like us, don't like us. It's all good. Comment and let's talk about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Polarization. It's numbers. And thanks for tuning in. It's like they say, oh, this is the worst podcast ever. And then they have comments about it every day. It's like crazy. Like following the train wreck. Of course, Fridays are WTF.
You just call us a train wreck, Tony?
Yeah, following the train wreck. That's it.
Not a train wreck.
Of course, don't forget Saturdays. Sometimes
Delta's a train
Chris
wreck.
And Chris Jr. show. So something that we expect to happen, expecting the unexpected. Well, I'm going to start off with VGK stumbling out of the gate. Despite strong starts the previous couple of seasons, especially 3 seasons, if you will, 16 of VGK's first 30 games are against non-playoff teams rigged. 16 of the first 30 are against non-playoff teams rigged. But I feel at least,
50% of teams make the playoff, 50% don't. It's right down the middle.
The way that this roster is constructed currently, VGK through the first 16, my barometer is, will they be better than 500? And so to me...
Still got this. Still got that.
What does that say? I didn't see
that. The original Shut Up Tony sign before we went to video.
Well, but I thought that you had someone was supposed to wear a Shut Up Tony shirt or something.
Yeah, but then you didn't go to the game, dude. So they axed it. You didn't go to the game, so they didn't wear it.
Oh, they have a shirt that says Shut Up Tony.
I don't know if it's actually made. Ray, let me know. I know you watch all the podcasts with your kids, so let me know, Ray.
All right, that's great. In any event, again, we're talking about expecting the unexpected. I expect VGK to start off slow at or about 500 through the first 16 games, and they're playing those non-playoff teams are also improved. They're also improved, but it won't be this amazing runaway start for the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, it doesn't matter because they're going to flatten out in December anyway.
If VGK starts 500 for 25 to 30 games, that's okay.
I said 16. I said 16.
With this situation.
Yeah, 16 games.
If they go for 30 games, 500, that's good. It's okay. They can only go up at that point, so that's not a bad thing right there. My first unexpected here. I've hit this one a couple times, but I'm going to start off. Mark Stone's going to play 75 games this season.
You are stupid. That's dumb. Really?
Mark Stone is going to play 75 games this season. He was on pace last year.
If he does, I will donate my spleen to charity.
Well, there you go. Careful, Tony. Careful. Someone's going to come get it. No, I think Mark Stone, I honestly, I do truly believe his major health issues are behind him. I do believe the back is doing better and much better now because there's even less mileage on it.
No, it's going to be more
freakish injury last year.
He's going to have to carry this team on his back this season.
Fine, but this is not me just screwing around. I do firmly believe that Mark Stone
I know that
is going to have his healthiest season as an AHLer, at least as a Golden Knight. I don't know if he's played 82 games before, but I'm taking 75 games for Mark Stone. And then the second thing I hit on this last week, I will say Samsonov comfortably will have more appearances than Aiden Hill No different than the same take I probably offered about the same time last year, that Logan Thompson would have had more appearances than Aiden Hill comfortably, which the score was 45-35.
Okay, you're not going to like this, folks, but I am projecting. It's a good way to put it, right? I am
Critically,
projecting an in-season change. I don't know who it will be, but it's something that I see in the Dasco crystal ball. Could be a coaching change, could be someone on the bench, it could be upstairs. I just see something
teams
happening,
don't.
and it could happen before the start of the season. Still,
No, that's a little too much.
future
But
endeavors. It could be future endeavors.
teams don't move on from assistants during the season. It's the top, and then stuff rolls downhill after that. Now, listen, I'm with you. There is a possibility if things don't go well
I'm
that,
sensing something this season. I don't know why.
and that's fair. It's fair. I mean, the Golden Knights average tenure of a coach is 2.5 years. Like, this is reality, not perspective.
Could
So,
be upstairs if they don't get off to the right start.
who's Foley going to align himself with? McCrimmon and McPhee or Cassidy? McCrimmon's already drawn the lines in the sand. McCrimmon
Yeah.
already drew the line in the sand with the comment about it being the best VGK team ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yet they didn't get out of the first round. So McCrimmon already drew his battle line. His
That's fine.
as far as expecting the unexpected here, I'm on the Alex Holtz train. I think Holtz can definitely prosper with this team right now with the Golden Knights. I think Holtz can, whether you call it a breakout, whether you call it, I think New Jersey really screwed this one up, and good on McCrimmon for finding a deal that could possibly ease the loss of Marchessault. So if Holtz pops and Dorofeev pops, all of a sudden, then yeah, I guess a lot of the stuff I said about the Marchessault deal, I would certainly, and I'd be happy to walk that back a little bit. There's so many unknowns, so I'm not going to walk it back now. But I believe Holtz can, I mean, what was he, 16-12 last year in a fourth line role? If he gets a shot in the top six, which I think he is probably, him and Dorofeev have got to be the chalk for those. I mean, there's two spots in the top six, depending on how things shake out. I don't see Brett Howden going back to the top six. I don't think that'd be the best decision for the Golden Knights. So Holtz having a nice breakout, I think I would put that in the unexpected. Let's put Holtz in a 27. Let's go 27-18 for Holtz, 45 points.
No, not 27. Not 27. No, he just won't. I see something too. Unexpected, perhaps move defensively, move away, and healthy scratches ahead for Zach Whitecloud.
There's trouble in paradise there. I don't care what anyone says. The team kind of was a bit strange with their messaging, especially the first trip, not the second one, but the first trip to Arizona. Whitecloud gets this weird, mysterious scratch. I write an article kind of with some perspectives. I get my hand slapped for doing that. And then it gets leaked out that, oh, well, Whitecloud was sick that game. But then I hear from someone very close to the team that it was a healthy scratch scenario. So you never know what to think. And Whitecloud is one of those, he's not as young, but he's one of those younger players in a lower third defensive pairing role where Cassidy was riding him last season. He's one of those players that was in the doghouse, and we'll see if Whitecloud responds. Whitecloud's stats are great. I think he's an incredibly mature player on the ice, off the ice. He's one of the best interviews on the team, in my opinion, as well. I think maybe Whitecloud is the new Marchessault, where they just maybe don't get on the same page a lot. Maybe Whitecloud and Coach Cassidy are the ones that are gonna butt heads. Expecting the unexpected. Can we get an improved power play, Tony? Like, is that too outlandish, or do you think they're still going to be middling?
They'll be mid. They will absolutely be mid until they need to change the structure of that. And I want to see if Cassidy, again, like seriously, tweaks his system, because it became so predictable that I could be out there on the ice and know where the puck was going to go.
Losing Chandler.
You go below the goal line, and then they try to force it out in front of the slot. There's somebody staying at home there defensively every single time. That was one of the biggest flaws of this past season.
On the other side of that, you got Eichel delivering dimes out there and people not catching the passes until Barbashev's arrival
Very
back
true.
in
Very true.
season 6. So a couple things where I was going to go with this. It's there. Eichel system
System
changes.
change. Goal line. No. Done. All right.
It was there.
Sorry,
It was
man.
there, Tony.
I cut you
It
off,
was
dude.
there.
That's what
Oh, Eichel 49.5, 49.5% face-off circle. Can we get there?
No, not a
You don't think
chance.
so?
Unless he's practicing again with Cassidy in the sand, because you get that resistance, or just drop the puck in the sand, fight around for the puck or the ball, whatever. And that's how I
And the
would train
Golden
him right now.
Knights go to,
And the
so
tape.
now that you got, going back to the power play, you got Hurdle, great net front presence. Do the
Yeah.
Golden Knights possibly rely on less motion? So the Golden Knights were trying to be that skill power play like Tampa and Edmonton, getting the puck left to
Just
right,
shoot the
one-timers.
stinking puck. Let's start there. Shoot the puck.
And that's, if you hear the microphone, we got this new Uno game, No Mercy Uno. Folks, you want hours of entertainment, go get Uno No Mercy. You can hear my family playing it right now through the microphone. It's
What is more entertaining, watching people drive and slog through the puddles when it rains, or the Uno game, the new Uno
the puddles,
game?
definitely the puddles, no
The
doubt.
puddles.
But
Okay.
no, last thing, I mean, will the Golden Knights, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm taking a top 10 power play for the Golden Knights next season.
Come on.
Despite the loss of Jonathan Marchessault, I think they're going to utilize Hurdle and Stone in a more effective manner to create just absolute traffic between the shot and the goalie, which will also open up that opportunity for those one-timers from the circles. It's almost like a play action pass for the NFL, where the Golden Knights will shoot so much from the point it'll be effective. All of a sudden, teams will change what they're doing. So then that's when Cassidy hopefully will be ahead of that change, and then start utilizing some more motions. So I'll give some positive there.
Doesn't Jack Eichel need to shoot more?
Eichel needs to shoot a lot more. He needs to go from top 5 to top 2 next year.
All right. We appreciate
that might have been the
everyone.
worst take, Tony. That might have been the worst one. I never dog you. That might have been the worst one.
It was good, though. It was funny. It's like, if we can't make
Literally,
fun of
I'm
ourselves-
researching. I'm like, Tony, bro, he's like top 4 in shots overall.
I said he needs to take more shots. Well, perception to me was that he didn't take enough. And imagine if he took some of those open shots, he would be number 1. So that's where I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Fair. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. Thank you so much to everyone that tunes in, that follows us, that comments each and every day. Of course, you could find us on the X at Locked On VGK. And don't forget, on YouTube, please subscribe there on Locked On Golden Knights, where you can sometimes find the Chris and Chris Jr. show. From my man, Chris Golick.
One of these days.
There's so much hype around it. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you again next time right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.